PowerDesigner Object-Oriented Modeling. Designing for j2ee applications. After we've gone from the analysis and gone target-specific, in this case, a Java-specific implementation, we then start to specialize through either the component or class diagrams. When we look at the class diagram, we see that there are classes here that have already been configured as a kind of enterprise Java bean. So taking orders, for example, if we wish to convert orders into a kind of enterprise Java bean, we simply apply one of the j2ee design patterns within the tool. Right-click and select the Create Enterprise Java Bean wizard. This will guide us through creating a new enterprise Java bean. For component type, we have all of the j2ee specified component types. For the sake of the example, I will stick with the Container Managed Persistent Entity Bean, but you may select any of these patterns. You may select the configuration. You may select the configuration around transaction. Mandatory, never, not supported, required, requires new, supports. In this example, we will select the required setting. And then we can determine whether a new symbol will be created in the component model or not. And then we will determine whether we'll create a symbol in a new component diagram or an existing component diagram or no diagram at all. Components may exist in our model that have no graphical representation. That's perfectly acceptable. We'll go ahead and select Finish, and now we have a new Orders bean. Right-click and select Code Preview, and we see all the Java code that has been built, the correct abstract getters and setters, and all of the correct operations, with a series of to-do comments that show us where we need to now start putting our business logic. If we go over to the component diagram, from the order entry component diagram, we can then add the newly created orders component to that diagram. I can then show how the customer component is dependent upon the orders component by creating a dependency. Another way to create any j2ee components in PowerDesigner is to create a component right in the component diagram and double-click to enter its properties sheet. Here we can give it a meaningful name. In this case, we'll call it the Orders Items Manager. And then we can select what type of component it is, including whether it is a web service or not. If I select the web service checkbox, the type drop-down changes to show different patterns that we may apply to manage this as a web service. So in this case, let's make it a JAX RPC type web service. When I apply, you'll see Web Service tab, the WSDL being generated, the WSDL Schema tab, the interfaces and classes, and all of the elements that go into making this a component around the JAX RPC specification. And again, we can show dependencies between these artifacts in the component model. So here we've seen a quick overview of how we can take a class and convert it to a bean, or create a component and make a web service. But any object in PowerDesigner can be converted to a j2ee standard template, or we can apply the template to the components to make it easier for us to develop for j2ee-based applications by simply using the modeling tool as a catalyst to the architecture.